Check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Rasmus, I know it's still fresh and everything, but have you been able maybe just to think back and see what you guys have accomplished as a team this year and how you have moved forward as a team?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely took a step in the right direction. We've taken steps this year. We've really grown as an organization, as a team, as individuals. It's a sour taste in your mouth after that loss, but in the big picture, we've done some good things this year, and we've really grown. So I'm excited for the future. That's for sure.
Rasmus, obviously, 15 of the 16 teams in the playoffs end on a loss, so it feels abrupt to all of you. But in this particular case, to lose that game in that way, how do you guys kind of overcome that game, and how do you use that as a motivating factor all summer?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a motivator. At the end of the day, we didn't even come halfway during the playoffs. We know that, and how hard it is to win. Game 7, like I said, it's one shot that decides the whole season. We could have scored a little earlier, and the season would be still going, but we know how hard it is. So I'm sure everybody are going to go back now to their places and work out and train really hard.
When you look at, you know, just the expectations that all of a sudden were on you, and then the fans started coming, and you guys started winning, and you were drawing off that, and then the expectations got higher, but you guys didn't really even seem to care because you had high expectations of yourself. How much did you enjoy, like, I mean, for 7 years you've been telling me, I can't wait to be in the playoffs, and now you've done it. Has it been everything you thought it would be? Did you learn some things that maybe it was that you didn't realize that it was?
Let's say it took me a couple of games to just realize it's not that big of a deal. You know, everybody talks about playoffs. You need experience. You need this and that. At the end of the day, it's just hockey, and it's high compete hockey. And once me and we realized that, we just went out there and played. And I think we also realized that we can play in the playoffs. Like we're a legit team that can do damage in this league. So yeah, we learned a lot of things. I'm still processing it, but we've grown. We learned a lot from this.
Rasmus, Lindy spoke to a meeting the leadership group had with him, maybe, I don't know, out west, I don't know if it was in Vancouver or where it was, and then you guys kind of did something on your own. Can you kind of, I don't know how much you remember, but can you kind of speak to that meeting and what it did for the season, maybe? Because that's kind of the line of the season where you guys started to take off.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say exactly what turned everything around, but the meetings we've had, the team building stuff we had, I think it's a mix of everything, but us coming together as a group and realize, okay, we can bitch about so many things, but it's us players that have to do it. We have to get better, and when we really realized that on a deep level, things changed. And we started to be more accountable towards each other, and that definitely helped us.
Does that mean, like, you say complain or whatever, does that just mean, you know, you stopped, you blocked out the outside noise? What does that mean exactly, I guess?
Everything. You can only imagine, like, when you're not doing great, everything else is the problem, not me. Him is not doing the right thing or this or that. But when you look yourself in the mirror, that's when you that's what it comes down to. That's what you have to do. That speaks for everyone, I think.
Rasmus, I was wondering what you've learned through this playoff process to help make sure that this trip to the playoffs doesn't become a one-off and this becomes the start of a annual trip to the playoffs where you can build on this and go to win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, I think it's a mindset. I think now when we got a sniff of it, I think now we know how hard it is, and we know how hard we have to train, how much we have to prepare for next year, because it's not easy to win in this league. And I think if everybody just have that mindset, you'll be fine. But I really think that you need that mindset. It's not going to be easy. So being uncomfortable is the best. If you like being uncomfortable, that's good. That's what we need.
Rasmus, obviously, we know no team ever comes back exactly the same way the next season. There'll be some changes. But the most prominent thing going on right now is the decision Alex has to make here. In your mind, obviously, you guys all want to get yours, but he's a unique case. How important is he, in your mind, for this group to have him back and have him happy with what he gets from them?
I mean, all I want is Tage to get back. That's the bottom line, and he's so big for us on and off the ice. So it's his life. He does whatever he wants. I respect him for whatever he does, and but I just hope that him and Jarmo can find something good here.
Rasmus, a few weeks ago you talked about how it's much easier to be the captain on a winning team. How much did it mean as a leader to see how close this group got with one another, and maybe how did that contribute to the winning?
Yeah, I mean it's like I said, it's easy to be a captain on a good team with a lot of character on the team. But yeah, I agree. We found a way to get close to build a really brotherhood. I'm really proud of what the guys did and how far we came in that aspect. So it's been fun. We've had a lot of fun this year.
Rasmus, what did you think of the job Lindy did this year? Seemed like at times he gave you guys the space to kind of own the leadership of the team and, you know, made the adjustments that you needed in the playoffs. But what did you just think of playing for him this year?
What do you mean?
What did you think of the job Lindy did this year, coaching you guys and kind of giving you the space maybe to take ownership of some of that accountability and leadership?
Yeah, I mean, he's so good at pushing us. I think that's the main thing. There's no time for effing around. Like you gotta be uncomfortable every day. I think that's what really helped us as a group too. We took care of the other stuff, but he really made sure he pushed us every day, and I think that brought a lot of success for sure.
I know you feel that you guys can get so much better and be a better team as you grow as a team, but when you see guys like Oslin and Helenus and even Yuri Kulik, who told us, you know, he's starting to feel better, and see that young core, Benson, does that excite you too, that not only do you have the veteran guys and your core guys, but the young guys that are coming have played really good hockey and are only going to get better?
Yeah, and it seems like all those young guys are gamers, which excites me. They have that competitive edge to their game. They're not afraid to get into dirty areas. They're unbelievable teammates, no egos. So I mean, I can't be more happy of what we've drafted here, because they fit right in, and they even elevate us as a team. So they're gonna be all those guys you mentioned are gonna be a huge part of this team. They're just gonna take over eventually, I think. So yeah, I'm excited.
Hey Rasmus, just wondering in your eyes how rewarding this season was with the fan support and the team's success given, everything you've gone through this past year.
With my stuff, you're saying? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can't be more thankful for everything. With the stuff I went through, seemed like the whole city had my back, and the team, the organization. It just I felt a lot of love, honestly. So I can't be more thankful for everything. I do really appreciate it.
Rasmus, when you think of being the captain of this team, and you've talked about the fans so much, and how the impact they've had, you guys aren't the only team at all that has had trouble at home this year in the playoffs. You guys won in Montreal, you won 3 in Boston. Everybody's losing at home except Colorado and Carolina pretty much. What do you make of that? What do you think has caused that to suddenly happen to so many teams?
Great question. I actually don't have an answer, but on the road you usually just keep it more simple. Maybe that can be a reason. I actually don't know. But that's something we have to clean up for sure. But it's also good to be a good team, road team. So yeah, I don't have an answer, honestly.
Rasmus, curious how you held up physically this year, heading into the summer.
I'm good. Nothing crazy. You have your small stuff, but I'm not a guy that play with a broken back or something. I'm all good.
I've never seen a pro athlete who's not going to try to get better in the summertime and do those types of things. As you now enter the off season, what kind of things do you want to get better at so you can help the team even more?
Yeah, I mean, looking back last summer, that was an ideal summer to have. So I'm just excited to get back in the gym, get more explosive, get faster, have better condition, be able to play high quality in higher minutes and stuff like that. But I think my explosiveness has to get better. I need to be able to get my power and my skating better. Thank you.
Morning, Alex. Obviously, we all saw the way that how devastated you were after Game 7. I mean, what has it been like in the last 48 hours for you to process the way that game went and just the way that series went for you?
Yeah, it's been a tough couple days. Pretty emotional. Pretty heart-wrenching way to lose. Just so proud of our team and everything that we accomplished this year, and we put our heart and soul into this season. We had a lot of success. Obviously came up short from our main goal, but we made some big strides in the right direction. Yeah, it was really tough. Like I said, way to lose, but this series was. I did think that we played really well for the majority of the games, and I thought we outchanced them and outplayed them for the majority of the series. But sometimes you can't always find a way to win, and Montreal was able to find a way to win sometimes. And I thought that they did a good job sticking to their game plan. I thought they played hard. They battled really hard, and I thought Dobash played extremely well for him. Apparently, especially against me, coming off of a Boston series that I thought I was really strong, both offensively and defensively. I tried to carry some momentum into the Montreal series that ultimately led me to having 0 points. Everyone saw that, which is super frustrating because I thought my work ethic was there. As the series went on, I thought my attention to detail got better. I thought it slipped away from me a little bit in the middle of the series there when some frustration sank in, which for me is a little uncharacteristic because I pride myself on being a pretty consistent player. So offensively, I felt like I let my teammates down with that, but at the same time, I was really proud of my effort. I was really proud of, I guess, a lot of things during this entire season. But yeah, ultimately came up short, and it was devastating.
And just for the record, I mean, out of the Boston series through the Montreal series, were you playing with anything?
I've never talked about injuries out there. Everyone's dealing with something. Everyone's got something. I wasn't playing on a broken leg, if that's what you're asking me. Everyone's got their nuisances and everyone's got their little things, but I don't like to talk specifics about that. Sorry.
Alex, I know the big question that was kind of hanging over everything this season with you was the contract. And now that you've played the season, I'm curious how you managed to block it out and what what, if anything, you've been able to think about as far as what the next months might look like for you.
Yeah, so throughout the season, obviously, and if you go back to last summer, we had talks with Kevin Adams and his management staff that didn't progress to where we wanted it to. So we decided to kind of hold off and go through the season a little bit more and then maybe pick things back up. They chatted occasionally, and then when Yarbo stepped in, we initially had some good talks, and then they kind of stalled out a little bit, and we decided they continued to talk throughout the course of the season. And then at a point when we were starting to make the playoff push and everything, I decided that it was in my best interest and the best interest for the team in general to put anything like that on hold until after the season was over. I had my exit meeting today, so I know that Jarmo once again expressed his desire to have me back on the team. And so obviously he'll be in touch with my agent, and that's it. It's been throughout the playoffs. It hasn't been a focus of mine at all. Honestly, I've just been so thinking about the game and about the playoffs, and then that was it. Obviously, the next month or so I'm going to have to make some decisions here.
Alex, I know for years you thought about getting back to the playoffs with this team. Now that you've experienced it, how did the team experience, the way the fans rallied around the team, how did that all compare to your expectations?
It was amazing. It was a lot of fun. I mean, I think each and every night the fans blew the roof off the building. I wish we played a little bit better for them at home, but I still think we, like I said, we put our heart and soul into this run, and I think we gave them a lot of really good hockey and a lot of wins, and so it was special. I said it before, I'm so proud of this group. One of the youngest teams in the league, broke the 14-year curse, as people called it, and we made it to the second round for the first time in 18 years, and you look back in December, and if someone made that bet, they probably would have made a lot of money on it. So it was what we did. I thought was really special. Loved every second of it. Loved being with my teammates throughout the whole thing. We had so much fun during the regular season and during the playoffs, and just bonding with the guys. And it's been awesome. It's definitely leaked into my family life. My oldest son now is just obsessed with hockey, and I got him a little mini rink, and he's got rollerblades up in our playroom, and I have to introduce him as number 89 with the Buffalo Sabres, Trippy Tuck, and we put on the Dire Straits song there, and he goes and skates a couple laps and puts his stick up in the air. It's nothing like it, honestly. So it's a lot of fun, and he's got that "Let's Go Buffalo" chant down with the drum down to a science. So it's a lot of fun for me.
Alex, how much this whole journey for you coming here in the trade and growing up as a fan of the team and all of this and being able to be part of this, for you personally, how much have you allowed yourself to just kind of feel all of that, and what does it mean to you to be part of that, to be part of the lore of this franchise?
It's really special. I mean, it makes that Game 7 loss that much more devastating too, because of all the time and energy that we've put in as a group. I know Dolls and Tom I think they're 7 years in. I'm 5 years in. Sammy's almost 5 years in, and we've put everything into this group and organization in this city, and we've gotten a lot of love back, and we really appreciate that. And it wasn't always good times. There was a lot of hard stretches, but I think it shows our character and how we persevered, and we proved a lot of people wrong. So I'm, like I said, I'm really proud of our group. I'm grateful to be a part of it. Those three guys have been unbelievable for our team, and it's been.
Alex, what did you learn from this year's playoff run about yourself and about your team?
I mean, I thought we had our game in a really good spot. I think that we proved that we were contenders. I think the way we were playing, and we had a couple come from behind wins, and we won in different fashions. We played two completely different style teams, and we beat one and then took one to Game 7, and I think we opened the eyes of a lot of teams around the league, and that we were legit, and not only just making it to the playoffs, but almost making it to the conference finals. And yeah, about myself. I think this is a learning and a building experience for me. You know, I pride myself on doing more than just scoring goals, and so I think I did a really good job of that in the playoffs. I was physical. I did a lot of really good things out there, but at the same time, I know I can take my game to another level in the playoffs, and yeah, I think, yeah, just excited for the next chance I have.
Alex, Rasmus just mentioned, talked about it, and Lindy mentioned it. You guys had, the leadership group had a meeting with Lindy out west, and right after that, you guys started your run in early December. What do you remember just about that meeting, and why that was maybe one of the turning points in the season? Rasmus was talking about guys kind of looked themselves in the mirror. They stopped complaining, so to speak. I mean, I don't know if you can speak to that meeting.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I don't want to divulge too much information on it. I think it was very personal for us, and the meetings that we've had and discussions that we've had. I think Raz was right. It was looking ourselves in the mirror, and it was also kind of just saying, like, what do we have to lose at this point? Like, why not just go out there and compete and play the right way and have fun with it? And I think that was kind of contagious. I think the playing the right way, and then once you start winning, you get more guys buying in, and it's more fun. And then it just kind of, it was a snowball effect, and we just continued to press like the issues at hand, and we just kept trying to push to be better individually and as a team. And I think it started on that road trip. I think it was a culmination of a lot of different meetings, a lot of different discussions within our leadership group, outside the leadership group, with the entire team. I think just we continue to grow, and not only showed everybody else, but showed ourselves that we were legit.
Alex, you mentioned the tough decisions you have in the next month. Do you have a timeline in your head of when you want to have a decision? Do you want to see what's out there? Do you want to make a decision before it gets to that point? Are you working kind of with any timeline in the back of your head?
No, it hasn't even been 48 hours since we lost, and so I've been kind of dealing with that, just trying to hang out with my teammates. We had dinner last night, and just trying to enjoy the time with them. Trying to figure out even what I'm going to do this summer, because kind of hits you quick losing in Game 7. I don't have a timeline right now. I don't really have anything for you. I'm sorry. Like I said, I've just been so focused on hockey and the playoffs that I'm sure once we are finished here today, we'll start having those conversations with my agent, my wife, my family, and with the Sabres. So, yeah, that's it.
Alex, understanding all those issues, obviously your focus has been on the playoffs, and now things turn to your personal situation. Given all the things that you've said here today, even about your teammates, about your son, and the fact that your particular role in this franchise has been so unique right from your childhood. Guys walk all the time in this league. Guys change teams all the time. Under what scenario do you even see walking out the door here? I mean, it seems almost inconceivable. Is it simply a case of them, they've already said they want you, is it just a case you guys just have to get the numbers to where it is? I mean, can you even see the situation where you would leave at this point with this team finally getting good?
I have no idea. I wish I could tell you the future, honestly. I really just don't know how it's going to unfold. It's something that I'm going to have to do a lot of thinking about. But, yeah, I don't really have anything else for you. I'm sorry.
Alex, that kind of goes along the same lines, but my question is just, given all that, though, the balance of those two scenarios, right? You're at the point of your career where you probably feel like you're entitled to getting a nice payday, but then prior to seeing your family grow here, we know how much this organization has meant to you. So I guess in that moment, how tough is that balance of weighing those two things in that decision right now?
Yeah, I mean, I love it here. I've loved my time here. I love playing hockey here. I'm going to do whatever's best for myself and my family. And that's all that's in my power and consideration. And like I said, I don't know how the talks are going to proceed. I don't know what they're going to say. I don't know the future, but my main priority is my family. And where we'll be, where my kids will grow up, and who we surround my kids with, and there's a lot of aspects that go into it. It's not just numbers. It's not just where to play. I mean, there's endless amount of possibilities and options for a guy going to free agency, and you don't really know. You don't really know anything until everything's laid out in front of you. So I'm going to take some time in the next few weeks and really figure it out, and see how it goes.
Alex, obviously one of the big things when it comes to contracts is like the length of a deal, right? And you just turned 30, and I'm curious, the last few years it seems like you've prided yourself on taking care of your body, being available a lot. And how much hockey do you think you have left in you? Like, what have you shown yourself, I guess, the last few years about what it takes to have longevity in this league?
Like 15 years? Sorry, I had to make one joke today. Sometimes after certain games and you're sitting there, and I woke up yesterday and I was like, oh, I might have to retire tomorrow. I think with the technology, with everything, I think with how I've taken care of myself and how I'm going to continue to take care of myself, I really don't know how long I'll play for. I would love to play as long as I possibly can until they force me out, pretty much. I love the game of hockey. I have so much fun with it. It has been my entire life, pretty much, except for being a dad now. And I'll, like I said, I'll play it. I'll try to play until my son can make it. I'd love that, but I don't know if I can play for that long. But I don't really know. I'd love to play till I'm 40. That'd be incredible. Never know.
Are there any guys that you've looked to or picked their brain? I mean, there are guys that are still extremely effective late into their 30s in this sport, and obviously, like you said, with technology, have you gotten to that point? I know you just turned 30, but that's a big number. It can cause
Thanks
some soul searching.
Thank you. Yeah, right. I think a little bit. I think just like I said, with technology, with treatment, with a lot of different methods, I don't really think that the age is something that is as much of a concern as it was even 5-6 years ago. Even some of these serious injuries, I mean, I think maybe 5-6 years ago, Gabriel Landeskog's probably not going to be back in the league. With all the regimen and stuff he had to do, it's incredible to see him back in and playing in top form. So you look at a guy like that. I mean, there's a long list of guys. That was the first guy that popped in my head. But I really I think that maybe I'll talk to some guys. I think it's more of just, I've always taken it as a day-by-day approach kind of thing, and just focusing on today because that'll make you better for tomorrow kind of thing. So, like I said, I pride myself on consistency, not even in hockey, but just like in my preparation. And I've been able to stay very healthy the last few years. I want to continue to try to stay very healthy for the rest of my career. So just play as many hockey games as possible, be available. You're never always going to feel 100%, but if you can mitigate some of the major things, it'll help your career. So, yeah, I think as I go down the road, I'll definitely be talking to guys and trying to figure out, but there's always this next new method that if I can get my hands on, I'm going to try it. Thanks.
Since he just left, maybe just ask about Alex. I know you're not going to get involved in his business and everything, but what has he meant to you as a teammate, and what would it mean if they could figure something out and you can move forward with him on the team?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a secret that everyone in that room wants him to come back. You know, he's a huge piece of this team and a massive reason why we got to where we did. He's my neighbor, lives across the street. We're very tight, so I don't think there's anyone in that room that wants him back more than me. But at the same time, it's a business, and you know, I understand that side of it. And you know, you get to free agency, it's a big deal, and there's a lot of work and you know, previous years that go into that to allow yourself to you know, fight for as much money. And it's obviously not all about money, but it's definitely a big factor. But you know, I know Tucky's heart and the amount of love that he has for this city and how much it's mean playing here. So I don't really know where his head's at. I know there's a lot of things that he's going to have to think about. Ultimately, I think it's just going to come down to what he feels is best for him and his family. And I think it's going to come down to, you know, what Jarmo thinks is best for our team. So those guys will figure something out. And I'd be very grateful that, you know, if he came back, but we just don't know. So leave it at that.
Tage, you and Rasmus have the most time put in with this organization at this point, and how much have you allowed, I don't want you to speak for Rasmus obviously, but how much have you allowed yourself to really enjoy this run, to get this team over the hump into the playoffs, and just kind of soak in all of this, what this season has been about?
Yeah, it's been an emotional year. You know, I think especially for me and Ras for sure, just with things that, you know, he's been dealing with. But it's something that we've talked about for a long time, you know, being here as long as we have. And, you know, guys have come and gone and, you know, weren't able to do it. And that was always a big thing that we talked about, is taking a lot of pride in being, you know, two big pieces on, you know, ending the drought and bringing, you know, winning hockey back to Buffalo. And it's a weird feeling because it's a rewarding feeling, but at the same time, the way the season ended, it still stings and hurts. So it's a mixed bag of emotions. But I think when you take a step back and look at the progress we've made this year and the step we've taken, and a lot of the goals that we've set out in front of us at the beginning of the season, we've surpassed them. So now that standard just gets changed and the bar gets set higher, and you know, it gets me excited and it gets Dolls excited. And it's something that we've you know, we've been dreaming about for a while here. So now it's here.
Tage, something small and something big here. First of all, now it can be told, what were you playing through?
I mean, everyone's playing through something in playoffs, so I probably shouldn't have answered the question like that, but I was just a little heated. But I had some low back stuff going on, most of the playoffs. Nothing ridiculous, but yeah, just stuff from a long season, and guys are always playing through stuff, especially in playoffs, and yeah, not a lot of time to recover, a lot of turnaround, so that was it.
And then the other question would be simply this. It felt like going into the season that this was going to be a real make or break year for a lot of people, players, coach, GM, and it started really bad, and it looked really bad for a long time. How much pride do you guys take, understanding the way it ended, but how much pride do you guys take that you took ownership of this thing and this group of players completely turned a franchise around in a span of 6 months after literally a decade of mostly disasters?
Yeah. I mean, I remember for one of the first, I think it was the third game, we had lost 3 in a row, and I think, all you guys were all over us. I just remember thinking about that, and it's so true. It's such a long season, and it really doesn't matter what's happened the previous years. And I think we all just truly dug into that and leaned on each other and said we can turn this thing around. We can't start thinking about the previous years and what's happened and the way this season started. And we just got to keep looking to the next game and just keep that real short mindset, just one day at a time, and just try to get better each day. And I think the only way through that is I've said it a bunch, but just leaning on each other. And we had such a tight group that I think guys really bought into that and made it about the whole of the group instead of about themselves. And yeah, it was a rewarding ceiling in that rewarding season in that aspect. Coming from where we did to now.
Tage, now that, as you said, the bar is set higher, how do you expect next season at the start to feel different on and off the ice?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like what I just said, is like as much as you got to forget about the past when it comes to losing, it's kind of the same thing with winning. Just because we got to round 2, Game 7 doesn't just mean we're automatically getting a pass to playoffs next year. It's going to get harder. I mean, there's teams in the league that probably came into Buffalo taking us for granted. And I think we've earned the league's respect. I don't think it was a fluke by any means. So I think every team is ready for us. And when that happens, it means it's going to get harder. And you got to be willing to embrace that. You're just going to face more challenges, more adversity, and something that we're no stranger to by any means. But yeah, it's exciting because of where we got to this year, and you're hungry to keep going further and find out what you're made of. And I know that we got the group to do it. When it comes to dedication and the mindset and all the little intangibles that can't really put your finger on, but you just feel in the room. I know it's there, so I think that gets you really excited.
Tage, what did you learn from this year's playoff run about yourself and about your team, and how do you apply that to future seasons and really setting a foundation and sustainability here?
If I was to define it or a group off that season and our run there, resiliency is I feel like the perfect word. All year, just been resilient. I think our mental strength as a group has been really impressive. Obviously there's a lot of doubt, a lot of hate on the outside, especially early on, and be easy to fold and just kind of accept that this is the way things are around here. But I think guys truly cared about each other in that room enough to not let each other down. Like I said, just being selfless. I think everyone in that room takes pride in wearing that crest and putting the team above themselves. And I think when you do that, usually things fall into place.
Tage, Rasmus mentioned Lindy make you guys uncomfortable every day. And he meant that in a good way. Like, what is uncomfortable every day to you? And just how did Lindy just get the best out of you every day?
Yeah, I mean, I think, when you're comfortable, that's the kiss of death. I think anytime you become comfortable or complacent with where you're at, you stop trying to get better. So I think if things are uncomfortable, whether it's practice in the gym, uncomfortable conversations, things that you don't want to do necessarily or that are hard, but make you better. And that's all our team is about, is just getting better each day. And if you're coming to the rink and pushing yourself that extra % or two, you're doing the right thing. And I think Lindy's a big proponent of that, and testing guys' limits and seeing, where that is, and if you can, move that threshold a little further.
Tage, you guys in the playoffs are the second youngest team, and you've got a lot of young pieces on this roster. I know you're part of that kind of core with Rasmus and Alex that have been here for a while. Is there anybody in particular of the younger guys that stands out, that feels like maybe they're just scratching the surface and could really become a big contributor for this team moving forward?
Well, I mean, I think everyone was a huge contributor this year. You don't get to where we were without having everyone pulling in the same direction. But with that being said, yeah, we got a lot of really young, skilled guys that can play the game the right way. I think for me personally, there's a lot of our younger guys that I've been around quite a bit, so I know their potential and what they can do. So it's not a surprise to me. But Consta was one of those guys that came in. I didn't really know a whole lot about his game or haven't seen him too much, and for being such a young guy, the way he plays the game is so mature. He's got incredible skill and the ability to make plays and score goals, but just the maturity in his game, I think, is pretty remarkable, honestly, to be thrown into a playoff series like that and to be rock solid. I was pretty impressed. So I'm really excited to see the summer he has, and coming into camp, he's going to be a big piece for us moving forward.
Tage, you moved around a ton growing up. You've lived all over the place. I'm curious what it's like, or what it's been like, kind of making this place your home and kind of setting up roots and then seeing it come alive the way that it did this year.
Yeah, it is. My wife and I joke this is the longest place I've lived in my whole life. I think I've been here 8 years now, so that surpasses any other place that I've ever lived in the course of my life up until this point. So pretty wild to think about that this is truly home. It's where I've had my kids, and raising them here and seeing them at the games and being able to create these memories that I was fortunate enough to have with my dad when he played. And those are just the little things that I remember growing up and what got me to fall in love with the game. And now I get to create those memories with my kids and do it here in Buffalo. It's been amazing, honestly. I think the adversity I think that we've faced over the last number of years that I've been here has made this feeling rewarding in a different sense, as far as I've been here and we haven't won, and you see the fan base and how they're just starving for hockey to be good around here, and to see how passionate they were this year, and how excited this whole city was for playoffs was a super rewarding feeling.
Tage, if we go back a year, last May. You've won 2 gold medals. You got off the airplane after the Olympics, and you're playing the New Jersey Devils almost as soon as you get off the airplane. You go through a run to get to the playoffs. You go through the playoffs. Was there just any point where you maybe hit a wall? And if you did, how did you get past it, and how did you get over it?
Yeah, it was a crazy long year, starting back in Worlds. As soon as Worlds ended, Brian Gallivan was over there with us, our strength coach, and he was like, "You're getting back in the gym day one." So been going since, right when Worlds ended. So there hasn't been really any off time. But I think that's good. Obviously need rest now, but I think it was good for me. Just keep pushing and trying to test your limits. I think not only physically but mentally, when things get tough physically, it's a big test on your mental aspect as well. And I'd be lying if I didn't say there was times throughout this year where I hit a wall big time. But that's when you lean on each other in the room. I'm not going to have my best every game, and guys in the room aren't going to have their best, and it's all about picking each other up. And when guys are going through slumps or tough times, it's about other guys carrying the load, and that's what makes the group so tight is, how much we truly knew when guys were going through things and when guys needed picked up and a little help along the way. And that's how I got through it, just leaning on guys. And I think I owe a lot of this season to, my teammates and the coaches and the strength staff and all the people behind the scenes that you don't see. They get you through it. So that would be my answer for that.
You mentioned Tuck lives across the street from you. Would it be harder to replace him as a teammate or a neighbor?
That's a tough one, actually. I mean, he's such a good teammate, but he might be an even better neighbor. He knows everyone in our neighborhood, knows them all by name, makes me look bad. Taking trash bins out, putting mine away. So, yeah, he's been awesome. Would hate to see him go, but hopefully he doesn't.
Lindy mentioned last week or the week before a meeting the leadership group had. I don't know if it was Vancouver, it was out west, and Rasmus was just talking about that meeting or that time, and guys kind of started looking themselves in the mirror. They stopped making excuses. What do you remember about maybe that meeting with Lindy and the leadership group out west, and why it had such an impact? Whenever that was, early December maybe.
Yeah, it was in Calgary. Ras called a dinner with our leadership group. We went to dinner, just us, and talked about where we were at in the season, where we wanted to get to, how we were going to do it. I think for us it was kind of just being brutally honest with each other, just asking what do you guys need to see from me on a nightly basis, and then guys would tell that individual what they needed to see, and it was all about just, all right, if you don't see that, I want you to hold me accountable and say something, and it's coming from a place of love. But I think that was, it was no real secret recipe or rah speech. It was pretty simple. It's just look in the mirror and be better. And if you do that, you have the ability to hold other guys accountable. But it starts with yourself. I think when you're losing and things aren't going well, it usually flips and it's the opposite. And it's you need to do this, and you're not doing your part. So that's pretty much what that was about. Thank you, guys.
Matias, I know it's only been a couple of days, but can you now look back at everything this season and where you guys came from and where you ended up and just how everything unfolded as a team and how you guys all got closer and everything? Can you start looking at that now and appreciate it?
Yeah, I think so. I do think there are a lot of positives, a lot of learning lessons to take from this year. Obviously, the group had more in mind and wanted to accomplish more. So that part still sucks, and that part definitely still stings. But yeah, the steps we took, the growth, all of that, it definitely is something that we can grow from and learn from going forward.
Matias, for you personally, how satisfying, gratifying, any of those kind of words was this year for you after, how your career started here, dealing with injuries and, even some of the fans getting frustrated with you to have the season that you did this year? How much how did that make you feel, basically?
Yeah. I think first for me, like my faith was a big reason for this year. I give all the glory to God in that aspect, and just to kind of turn it around and have a good season, have a productive year, stay healthy. Yeah, very, very satisfying for me. I've talked about it a lot, but those first couple of years being injured, there's definitely some dark days, and you doubt yourself a lot. The mental battle was worse than actually dealing with the injuries. So yeah, to be able to put it together a good stretch of hockey and be, for the most part, healthy enough to play every night, yeah, brought a lot of joy back for me. I don't know if I said this last year, but there were stretches that I wasn't even having fun coming to the rink, and that's who I am. That's I grew up obviously at the rink every single day, and it's been my whole life. So when there were times where I wasn't even having fun, it was hard. So yeah, get back to the question. I think this year has been really big for me, just confidence, and just having fun again, enjoying the game a lot more, and being able to show just what I could do when I'm on top of my game.
Matias, a little more along those lines. When you come into this season as a group, people look at Rasmus Dahlin as the key guy on Buffalo's defense and a lot of question marks. What's it like now? You emerge from the season, and league-wide, people are saying the Buffalo Sabres' top four in defense is one of the best in the league. Dahlin and Power and Byram and Samuelson. You guys, now you'll have even more targets on your backs, but you have now established yourself as one of the prime defensive units in the league. And I don't know if anybody thought that possible in September. What does that feel like now to know that you guys are achieving that kind of status and attention?
I mean, I think it's cool to get noticed for sure, and I think the cool part about us four are we learn a lot from each other every day. Obviously, like Ras is way more offensive than I am, but there's little things you pick up from his game, watching him, playing with him, whatever. And then the same goes with Bo and OP. You learn a lot from each other, just talking about things in practice or how they think, about certain plays. So I think a lot of it's learning from each other, which is huge for all of us. Yeah, it's pretty cool to be, part of a group that I think when us four are at the top of our games and playing well, we kind of control the game. with just how much we play and how much we have the puck. So obviously Ras is one of the best D in the world, so that definitely helps having him. But you know, I think the rest of us, when we're playing well, can definitely control games for sure.
Individual play might be part of this, but how do you feel you've grown as a leader since the start of this season?
Grown as a leader. I think I've always kind of led the same way. I'm not very big on the speaking, like the cliches and some corny stuff I say at times. I don't really enjoy that part. I more of want to lead by example, compete, play physical. You know, the style that I guess you could say would pull your teammates in with you. And I just try to do that the whole year. Show up every night, compete. When there's no doubt from your teammates in what you're going to bring every night, that's when I think you're in the best spot to lead. So I think this year I just try to do that night in, night out.
Matias, what was it like to see, you know, you've had this core in place for a while, but I think especially the last month in the playoffs, you saw a lot of young guys step up, kind of that next layer, that next wave of players with Consta and Benson and Osland in the first round. Like, how exciting is it to see, you know, that you've got those guys coming up to kind of support, you know, the core that you have in place?
Yeah, really nice to see those guys perform. I mean, I think like Osti and Helly are two studs. Like, there's games where Osti looks like the best forward out there. So, yeah, really exciting to have them coming up. Obviously, they're only going to get better. They're still both really young. So, yeah, seeing those guys and just seeing the guys you kind of just been in the trenches with for the last 5 years, perform down the stretch, face adversity. Yeah, it's really cool to see guys like Tom or Ras have big nights in the playoffs and do a lot of things like that. So, yeah, already looking forward to next year, that's for sure.
Matias, what did you learn about yourself and about this team from this playoff run this season?
About myself, about myself would probably just be how much I enjoy the pressure. Obviously never really played in that big of games before in my life, so just you know, when your back's against the wall and it's do or die, and those type of games, they're obviously the most fun, but I think people handle the pressure differently, and I think that's when I'm at my best. And I think a lot of guys can say that for the team. I think we learned a lot about just how hard it is. You know, obviously everyone knows how physically demanding the playoffs are. But I will say the one thing you don't know until you experience it is the emotional swings that you go through and how to handle those. I saw Bo say it, but you win game 1, you think you're sweeping them. You lose game 2, you think you're losing in 5. Like, it's like the emotional swings are insane. So, yeah, I think the group learned a lot about that and how to handle it for sure.
Matias, you talked about the joy of the game coming back for you. I'm curious, how much enjoyment or joy did you find throughout these playoffs, particularly, you know, that game 1 moment for you against Boston?
Yeah, I think that was one of the up until that point, that was probably one of the cooler moments of my life. You dream about playing in the playoffs. You dream about scoring big goals, obviously. I mean, for me, someone that, doesn't score 30, 40 goals a year, yeah, it was pretty special. I think also playing in the playoffs, it kind of just gives you a lot more motivation. When you're coming in and playing 80 games and going home at the end of the year for 5 years straight, it can be pretty hard to, I don't know what the word is, but I think playoffs just give you a little more motivation, a little more something to play for, obviously. So, yeah, a lot of fun. Can't wait to be back, that's for sure.
Matias, your dad played a long time in the NHL on defense. How much does he enjoy seeing the defenseman you've become in the NHL and seeing what you've become after, he knows what you're doing and what you're going through?
It's a good question. I actually don't know. I think he was always on some pretty good teams. Won a cup in Pittsburgh. Yeah, I honestly don't know. I think he's just proud of that I get a chance to play in the playoffs and compete. He always lets me know that his name's on the cup and mine's not. So he still, until I win one, he always has that one on me. But yeah, I think he's just happy for me. I saw him cheering, some videos of him cheering during the playoffs, and I never knew he got that excited watching hockey games. So, yeah, I'm sure for him it brings back a lot of memories when he played as well. So, yeah, this whole playoff run, he's been pretty fired up. So it's been cool to watch and fun to share those memories with him. And he has some stories from when he played in the playoffs too, which were pretty fun to hear. But I don't really think I liked hearing him before because I never knew what he was talking about. But yeah, we talk all the time, so he's pretty fired up, I think. Not as much anymore. He was like when I was younger, but now he just kind of watches, like as a dad. If I ask him questions about my game or certain plays or whatever, he'll give me his opinion and we'll break it down. But he's not just like critiquing everything or he's kind of just also being a dad. So, yeah, he finds that middle ground, but he's not afraid to crack down if he needs to.
Matias, Tage was just talking about a dinner you guys had in Calgary where you, I don't know, kind of aired some stuff out, wanted to make each other more accountable. What do you remember about that dinner meeting and what it did for you guys, I guess?
I think it was just a good opportunity to kind of lay everything out there. We're obviously all pretty close and been here for a while together, so I don't think there was much that we didn't know about each other, but I think just a group of guys getting it out there and saying it out loud and discussing amongst each other with, say, like we're talking about Ras, for example, and what we need from him on a daily basis for him to be there and us to talk about it. I think it was just a lot of clarity for everyone. And I mean, we're grown men, so it's you should be able to do that and be productive and not take things personal. And Yeah, I think that was definitely big for our season, just to get those out there and discuss how we could lead from the front and kind of drive the group. Thank you.
Hi, Jason. When we sat through this interview with you a year ago, you famously talked about, hope is not a strategy. What is it like for you now, a year later, to have seen a lot of hope come through and to really see an organization completely transform itself in a year?
I mean, I don't think there was a whole lot of hope involved, to be honest. I think it was trying to do it the right way. And, one thing I'll say about the transformation is I think it took more than a year. I think there were a lot of people involved, a lot of time and effort put into it. Sure, it flipped this year to finally getting into the playoffs, but I think I think we'd be foolish not to talk about all the people that were involved throughout the years that did a hell of a job and did their part to get this organization to where it is today.
Jason, I'm curious. I know the sample size is small, but in the playoffs, you played alongside Consta as he got thrown right into this, and Tage was just talking about, what he saw from him in those games and his future. What did you see, as the guy who was lining up next to him, and how bright of a future does he have?
I thought he was great. I think he's a smart player. I think he played the game very well. I think he played a great 200-foot game. I think he brought, a youthful, joy to the room during a tough series, and I think it was a great piece to add for us.
Jason, this group finally getting over that hump and getting into the playoffs. What about everything that they've learned over that time can make this a sustainable thing where playoffs is now the baseline where, okay, we got to get there and then build from that?
Yeah, playoffs is now an expectation for our group. It's not something we're striving for. It's the bare minimum, in my opinion. And I think we learned a lot this year. I think a lot of our guys grew up in a lot of ways, and I think we grew closer as a group and as a team and as an organization, as a city. It was an incredible feeling to be a part of a city and a fan base like this. This year, I'd heard about it for so long, and unfortunately throughout my career I'd never been able to see it. Now that we have, it's a different feeling, knowing that we have a fan base like this behind us, and it's incredible. So it was a lot of fun to be a part of, and I'm looking forward to playing in front of them again.
Yuri Kulik has mentioned a couple times what a mentor you've been for him, and this was a really tough year for him. He seems like a guy that just was starting to hit his stride, starting to get better and starting to learn things. Is it nice to hear now that he's going to be okay and he's going to be able to get back and get back with the team again and be with you guys?
Yeah, I've told him all year that he's been faking it, and that guys play through injuries all the time. He's just not one of those guys that can play through it, I guess. But no, Yuri's he's great. I love the kid. He's been a great friend of mine, and somebody that I look forward to having back in the locker room. We missed him a lot this year. I tell a lot of people he's a great young guy to have in the room. he's just a lot of fun to have around. And, I think, but as a player, I think he's an unbelievable talent. And I think it's going to be great for him to be able to get back into his training and get back on the ice and feel good and come into camp ready to go.
Jason, following up on that, how much have you just enjoyed the company of that entire room this year? And I know you have a lot of fun with the guys, but how much has that meant to you?
Yeah, they keep me young, that's for sure. But it makes it fun. You never know what you're going to get on a daily basis from, the likes of Benson and the rest of the crew. And but it definitely makes it enjoyable to come to the rink every day. And I think it became a really close-knit group because of that. And arguably the closest group I've ever been a part of. And it was definitely fun in that sense.
Jason, you left that game against Boston, took a few other hard hits in that series. I'm curious just how you came through everything physically heading into the summer here.
Still in one piece.
Anything like that's going to require any work or anything like that, or impact your summer training?
Nothing that I'm going to discuss. Yeah.
Jason, what's one thing that you realized about this team and its run to make the playoffs and in the playoffs that maybe surprised you, that kind of caught you a little off guard, like, wow, I didn't know this about this team?
There's nothing that can surprise me about this team anymore. I think throughout the year, I've been a part of a lot of ups and downs, and I think last year I had the conversation with one of you, I don't remember who it was, about it seems like every year Buffalo loses, 6, 7, 8 in a row, 10 in a row, whatever it is. And it's interesting because, flipping that script this year and having it go the other way, we didn't get any of those questions when you start losing a few games, right? When you start having tough stretches here and there. But it's really all about the way that your team responds on a nightly basis. And I think for us this year, that was a huge emphasis, was to not lose 2 in a row, not lose 3 in a row. And so when it came to surprises for us, it was another day. It was another day of work. It was another game, another practice. I think we just built off that, and I think it gave us a ton of momentum throughout the year.
Jason, your reference earlier to the fans, it's so true. It's something we hadn't seen here since 2007. I'm interested, as a veteran player, your thought on what's going on in the playoffs. Other than Colorado and Carolina, no one's really having success at home. You guys weren't the only ones that struggled at home. Montreal did. You guys won all 3 in Boston. Why do you think it's been so difficult for everybody at home in these playoffs to win games?
Yeah, I wish I had a good answer for you. I don't. I think for us, looking back at a few of the games, I think we started really well, and I think we, weren't able to sustain it, or vice versa, where we started very poorly and then we kind of came on strong at the end. I don't want to start guessing and throwing random stuff out there that somebody's going to cling to, because I don't really have a good answer for you. I think we were great in this building all year, and so I wish I had something great to give you that we could almost lean on going into next season, but I'm kind of at a loss with that one. I don't know.
Jason, you've been kind of had a front row seat to watching Zach Benson grow here the last couple of years. To see him kind of take a spotlight in the playoffs and playing the way he does, and seeing his kind of celebrity grow, what's that like to see that happen in front of you, and how do you think he's handled that?
Are we calling him a celebrity now?
Well, no, just getting a spotlight now on him in the playoffs, where a lot of the stuff that he does gets noticed a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, everything in the playoffs is magnified, right? I think the one thing that about Benny is he didn't change his game, right? Nothing changed. The difference is he scored goals in big moments, and I say that as a huge compliment to him. He plays that way every single game. He's tough to play against. He works incredibly hard. He makes great plays. He's around the net all the time. I think he's been probably throughout his career, snake bit to a certain extent. And I don't think the goal scoring has been to the level that it was for him in the playoffs throughout regular seasons, but that's not indicative of what his game is and how good of a player he is. And so I think probably for the first time he was rewarded properly, let's call it, for what he's done on the ice. So it was great to see that. It was great to see his game, flourish the way that it did. It was obviously a massive reason why we got to where we got in the playoffs, and it was great to see it. It was fun to be a part of it. And now it's up to him to maintain it.
Thank you, guys.
Bo, I know the year after winning the Cup, you went through the Game 7 thing with Colorado. What are your emotions about the way this thing ended so close and so suddenly?
Yeah, it's obviously a tough thing to go through, you know. It sucks when you think your team's got a chance to, you know, win a Stanley Cup and you fall short of that. It's never a good feeling. But, you know, we ultimately lost, and you deal with that and swallow your pride and just try to use it as fuel to improve as a player and as a team organization. So, you know, that's what we're focused on moving forward.
Well, the Eastern Conference, as I think you know, the home teams are like 12 and 22. I mean, when you were in Colorado, was it the same way back then too, or was it kind of totally different? Was it that hard to win at home when you know, played in the playoffs before in Colorado?
To be honest, I don't totally remember exactly what our home record would have been. But I mean, it's hard to win. I mean, could be X amount of reasons, right? Like, you never really know exactly why something's happening like that. Just shows you how hard it is to win. It's hard to win one game in a playoff series, let alone 4 and beat a team, or let alone 8 and win the second round, or 16 and win the Stanley Cup, right? There's a lot of good teams in the NHL now. You know, I feel like especially this year, everyone that got in kind of had a legitimate chance, especially in the East, of doing some damage and going far. So, yeah, it's tough to win games, and especially in the playoffs, no matter if you're at home or on the road.
Bo, you came from a place where you were used to winning, and I'm curious what it was like to get back to that and be a part of a winning team after getting traded here and kind of enduring a little bit of the other side of it.
Yeah, you know, like I've said probably many, many times, I was so fortunate to get drafted and, you know, get put in such a good situation right away. You know, I didn't really have any seasons like the team had here, or what we went through last year. So I was really lucky in that way. But I also think sometimes it's a good way to learn about yourself, about your teammates, and ultimately grow as a player. So, I mean, but for sure, getting back to the playoffs, you know, it's the most fun time of year. There's nothing like it. There's nothing to really compare it to. It's a ton of fun, and the pressure and the momentum swings, and yeah, just seeing everybody laid on the line every night, every shift is what makes it so special. So, yeah, it was a super fun year. Like I said, I don't think anybody in our room is just satisfied with, you know, making the playoffs and losing in the second round, which is a good thing.
Well, you know Owen as well as anyone. Just what did you see from him throughout the course of the year and then in the playoffs that made him so steady? And I mean, he really became a bear to play against most nights.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the things everyone knows. He's a super intelligent defenseman that can transport the puck, whether it's with his legs or you know, moving it up the ice. He defends well. He's big. He takes up a lot of space. He has a good stick. So, you know, I feel like a lot of the time when you're struggling or the team's struggling, there's always blame to go around, right? And when you're succeeding, there's always praise to go around. So, definitely happy for Owen and some of the recognition he got this year, because I feel like a lot of times some of the negatives are not necessarily fair towards him, or whatever you want to call it. Not that everything has to be fair, I guess. That's how the world works. But I also feel that way for a lot of the guys, and I guess for myself too. You know, it's just refreshing to I don't know, hear positives because we have a ton of really, really good players and young players that have drive and want to win and want to continue to get better individually and as a team. So, but yeah, in terms of Owen, he's a great teammate. He works his butt off every single day at the rink. He wants to get better. He takes care of himself. He takes care of his body and, you know, works on his game every day. And, you know, he's a great friend. So super happy for him.
Bo, when you look at the way this defense core matured over the course of this season, there was a lot of talk about, you know, Rasmus Dahlin being a star. You would want a cup. But now the talk around the league is Dahlin, Samuelson, Byram, Power, that Buffalo's top 4 is one of the best in the entire league. What's it like to be part of that kind of group and to see that develop over the course of a season to where you're recognized where you are?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. You know, I don't know. Maybe I'm biased because I'm a part of that, but I don't know. I just feel like it's pretty rare to, you know, have a guy like Dolls and then follow him up with Samuelson and then follow him up with OP and then myself, and the list continues to go on. Timmins had a great year. Metza had a great year. Stanley was good when he came in for us. You know, I feel like you can continue for a while. But I think the biggest thing is we just had fun and enjoyed coming to the rink, enjoyed playing with each other. It didn't really matter who you were out there with. It felt like you were comfortable on the ice with them. And there was no sort of, on our back end, but in our team in general, there was no ego or whatever in terms of who was having the success, because I felt like every different night or every other night, whatever, it was a different guy scoring a big goal or making a big play or blocking a big shot or making a big defensive play, whatever it might be. And that's, I think, the most important thing is, you know, we have a bunch of selfless guys that just want to succeed. So it was a ton of fun.
Bo, last summer, obviously, your contract was a huge talking point. I'm sure it was kind of a new experience for you. This summer probably will be a talking point. You're eligible to re-up again. I'm just curious, from your standpoint, what kind of things you're going to think about when it comes to whether or not you want to, you know, sign here long term. And obviously there's two sides to all of that, but like from your standpoint, what kind of factors you're going to consider?
I mean, I think there's a ton of things. First and foremostly being that I don't want to lose anymore. I want to be on a good team every year. I want to compete for a Stanley Cup every year. I want to be playing important games every year. You know, and then there's more personal stuff, where you fit in, what your role is, whatever. A ton of things that go into it. So, yeah, it's funny, you know, when I signed my extension last summer, I thought maybe I wouldn't have to talk about this for a while. But, yeah, I don't know. Just taking things day at a time, trying to, you know, be a good teammate, work on my game, improve, and put myself in the best position possible. So I'll continue to try to do that over the summer. And, yeah.
Well, if I could expand upon Mike's question, what made the four of you so good? Like, I sit there and watch you guys in the offensive zone, and I don't think I see any other team do it the way you guys do. The rotation, you got one defenseman in front of the net tipping in a shot from another defenseman. You got a forward backing him up. I mean, just the way you guys, what made you guys so good and made you guys maybe get to the top of the league as four guys?
Yeah, I think comes from just, one, having the freedom to do that. which obviously Lindy gives us that freedom. I think he recognizes it as the strength of our individual games. You know, we all skate well enough that we can recover if we get caught. And, you know, I feel like our forwards do a great job of, you know, covering and tracking and reloading and pressuring the puck not only on the forecheck, making it easy for us to read pinches and things like that, but also, like I said, tracking the puck back into our own end, which just keeps a lot of pressure on the other team, no matter who's backing you up or playing defense at that moment in time. When you feel like you're just getting swarmed all the time, it's tough to make plays. So, yeah, I think it's definitely a unique, I don't know, style or whatever you want to call it. But I think it's our strength as a decor and our strength as a team as well. So, you know, when you look at different situations or scenarios on the ice and think, oh, maybe I shouldn't have went there, maybe I should have stayed out, whatever it might be, which we're constantly doing, constantly trying to figure out the best recipe. So, yeah, the coaching staff and us will continue to do that and, you know, try to make the best version of all our games as we can. Thanks, guys.
Ryan, you've been through this before in the Stanley Cup Finals, of course. I mean, every team, I guess, goes through this except the one team that wins it. How do you get yourself through it? It's only been a couple of days so far, and can you look back at the season now, or is it just too early, and look at what you've accomplished as a team?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it sucks. You know, I think everyone's goal going into the season is to win the cup, so you come up short, it's tough. But I think as a group, we took some big steps, and you know, especially playing in Game 7, I think you know, there's not really any more fun you can have in hockey than being through those moments with those guys. So, you know, as a group, we should be happy with the steps we took. But I think, you know, kind of, you know, hungry going into next season with a chip on our shoulder of what we can accomplish now.
Ryan, what did you learn from this year's playoff run about yourself and about your team? And I'll follow up to that too. So.
Yeah, I think, you know, kind of going into the year, you know, obviously missing the playoffs last year. You know, I think we thought we were a better team than we were last year too, and I think this year we kind of just proved that we are a contender, and you know, every year going forward we should be you know, making, you know, good pushes and having a chance to win the cup.
What do you take from that and making those good pushes? How do you apply what you learned from this season to next season, to future seasons?
Yeah. I think just like that confidence that we do belong with those top teams, and you know, just you know, every year we should be in that conversation of winning the cup.
Everybody's going to try to work on their game and be better for next season. What kind of things do you want to work on while you're in your off season here to make you better and to help make the team better next year?
Yeah, I think just have a good summer workout plan, and you know, getting stronger, and you know, being prepared right up to start you know, next year to, you know, make a good push.
Ryan, obviously one of the things that jumps out at everyone with your game is the way you and Alex work together on the PK. What has made that combination so effective in that area in your mind?
I think we both just, you know, we skate well. We, you know, kind of think the game in a similar way. So, we just make good reads, you know, according to each other. So, yeah, it's you know, it's a lot of fun PKing with them. I think we got, you know, a bunch of short-handed goals, and you know, we kill off a lot of penalties. So it's you know, it's a lot of fun.
And what is your thought about, you know, what a tough decision he has to make going forward, and how significant would it be to just be able to keep him going forward?
I mean, yeah, obviously love him to stay, but you know, kind of out of our control. It's, you know, he's gonna get paid one way or another. So, you know, I just you know, kind of wish him the best with his decision, and we'll go from there.
Ryan, you had a good penalty kill for a lot of the year, and Game 4 won you the game. Basically, you killed 6 out of 7 penalties in that game, but it did seem like it struggled somewhat against Montreal. What happened to the penalty kill against Montreal, as I said, because during the season, for most of the season, it's been good.
Yeah, maybe not our best, but you know, they have a really good power play over there too. Kind of got to tip your cap to them. You know, they had especially their first year, they had you know 5 really high-end players. So I don't know what it really was. You know, maybe just the bounces here and there, but yeah, I think, you know, all in all, we did a pretty good job this year, and yeah.
Ryan, usually, you know, teams don't come out of nowhere and win. They have to go through things to get to the next point and maybe become a cup team. Now, you left Edmonton, you got traded here. You had gone to Game 7. They're still trying to get there. How much does this kind of run? It's almost something you have to go through as a group to try to get to the next level.
Yeah, it seems like, you know, you don't see a lot of teams just kind of making the playoffs the first time and winning the cup. So, you know, I think a lot of it's, you know, experience and you kind of be in those situations to get comfortable. And, you know, I think this year was a great step for us to kind of, you know, get that feeling and you're kind of learning what it takes to win. So, you know, you can't really fall back on you know, going to the second round and losing in Game 7. You got to, you know, be pushing the summer to take bigger steps and next year make it the goal to win the cup or go even further. So, I think it was a great step for our group, and I think a lot of guys should be happy with how they did down the stretch, and it's gonna be a big summer for a lot of guys though, in pushing forward. All set. All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that.
Payton, you obviously come in the Eichel trade that had a lot of notoriety in the history of this franchise. So you've been here multiple years. What are your emotions about the way the season went, and you guys developed into this group, and then how do you balance that with how it ended in Game 7?
Yeah, no, it was a a crazy year for sure. Obviously, starting where we did and finishing where we did. Obviously, like anyone say, if you would have told me we made it where we would, I would have been fired up, really fired up 2 years ago. And at the start of the year, I probably would have expected it. December, I would have been like, "Oh, how are we going to do that?" But it's been an unbelievable year. I think each and every day, our goal is to get better, and we did that. We definitely maybe didn't see the results we wanted throughout this, the first half, but I think we stuck with it, and we just continued to get better, and we showed that throughout the year. Into playoffs, I think, for not having, maybe the experience, I thought we handled it really well. And no, that was exciting. I think that has to be, something we do every single year and go even further. So I'm excited what the future holds, and no, I'm not sure how I can play regular season after games like that in Game 7. So it was awesome.
Payton, you still probably play with every forward on the team this year, like you have in every year.
Yeah.
But at least this year, you got a really good opportunity to play with Tage Thompson and either Doan on the right wing or Tuck on the right wing. And it seemed like, I don't know if confidence, it seemed like you really got confidence into your offensive game again, where maybe that wasn't your role before. Was it more fun this year for you with the role that you had?
I mean, yeah, hockey's always fun, just playing in the NHL. I love what I do every single day. Obviously, when you're playing more and, getting opportunities with guys like Tomer and Tucky and Donor, and like you said, I played with everybody, so it's a lot of fun. I think for me, I just continue to work hard every day, do what I can to help the team win, and the results take care of itself. And I just try to continue to believe in myself, and the NHL is hardly, it can beat you down at times. It's kind of a roller coaster, and to have to play with those guys, it elevates you. Play against the guys you're playing can give you confidence, and I think it did that throughout the year. It's good.
Payton, I'm curious what inspired the vintage cars throughout the playoffs.
I don't know. I just wanted to, maybe start a trend. If we have a good luck car to win a Stanley Cup, and maybe I'd buy it if we won. But obviously, I'm not buying it now.
Payton, you're an RFA again this summer, and you've talked a lot this year about how much this feels like home. How I think you said you're a Buffalonian now. Like, just with the contract stuff, like how much are you hopeful that you can make this a long-term home for yourself?
Yeah, I think obviously I've been here for my 5th year now. My daughter's born here. I've got engaged here. This is definitely a home for my family and I, and I'd love to be a part of this team as long as I can. Obviously, the group of guys here are unbelievable, and a lot of fun to be around. I think that's the biggest thing, is just, is it a fun environment to come to rink? And that it is for sure. And I've got to know my neighbors really well, and all the people out in Clarence where I live, and no, it's definitely something looking forward to, and want to bring a Stanley Cup here.
I do have a hockey question, but where'd you get the cars?
Basil Classics. They Jim Basil is a good friend of mine, and he was really nice to let us take the cars out, and so he hooked that up. I like old stuff, old cars, and he was nice enough to do that for us.
All right, the hockey question is kind of going back to what Paul talked about. A lot of guys, they like being set on their line, and they only have one really way they play. What's it been like for you? How do you transition from some nights you're playing with Thompson and Tuck, and some nights you're playing with Greenway and Mallenstein, and you're effective in both ways?
Yeah, I think I honestly, like, I think the best hockey players from what I watch are also, you know, they're grinders. They hunt pucks. They work at their craft every single day. They're getting into the body on guys, and if you can add some skill to that grind, it's a good combination to have. And for me, whether it's playing with Mal and Greener or Tomer and Tucky, I try to just bring the mindset that I'm going to grind for pucks. I'm going to be hard on the forecheck and, you know, get pucks to my teammates, try to make them better. And that's, you know, I don't change that whether I'm on the fourth line or the first line.
2 years, what have you gotten from him? It's because he always seems to have time for you to be in the lineup somewhere.
Yeah.
It's like you are going to be there, and you don't know where maybe, but you are going to be in that lineup somewhere. What have you gotten from him in the last 2 years as your coach?
Yeah, I think obviously Lindy's been a big part of where I am today for sure in my NHL career, and you know, he allows me just to work my brains out and I'll get rewarded. So I think that's kind of the biggest message is I come to work every day, Krebsy, and you do your thing, then you're going to get rewarded. And I just try to have that mindset that, you know, no matter where I'm at, that as long as I work hard, that good things will happen, and he's helped me do that.
Payton, speaking of Lindy, he meant Rasmus was saying that he makes you guys uncomfortable every day in a good way. Well, I mean, how does he do that? How has he gotten the best out of you by making you, quote unquote, uncomfortable, I guess?
That's a good question. No, I think Lindy just, you know, there's times where you need to poke the right buttons and do the right things, and whether it's practice, you know, maybe it's a drill you don't really want to do but you need to do, and it allows you to get better. And even the game, you know, like allowing you to do different things. You know, I think he allows us to be ourselves and do our thing, but at the same time, make sure we're being professionals.
Payton, you can speak to this a lot better than we can. You know, you're in the locker room. I'm just curious, as with Alex being a UFA and you being an RFA, and you talk about trying to build off the success that you guys have had this year, how important is just keeping that core together when you think of what the next level and the next steps as an organization looks like?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, the guys that I've been here with for the last 5 years are all my brothers. I love them to death, and you know, we built this thing to where it is now together, and you obviously want to keep that together. You know, Tucky's an unbelievable guy, unbelievable player, and you want guys like him on your team for sure. So, you know, we're really hoping they can, you know, get something done, and you know, because we love Tucky, and you know, he's a great guy.
No, I know you did try to come back and play. What happened that just put you out, and is it gonna linger in the summer? Are you gonna have any surgery, or what's going on with you?
No, I'll be fine here in a couple of weeks, I hope, and
hope it's not gonna interrupt my training that much. So, but I feel better. I've been skating, so we're getting there.
A couple things, Noah. First of all, if you guys had won in Game 7, do you think you could have played at some point against Carolina, or is that too soon?
Yeah, I think I was discussing a little bit yesterday with the Dogs, and maybe a little bit later in the round, I was hopeful to come back, but yeah, sucks it ended that way. So yeah.
What do you make of your season? The way you had a regular spot in the lineup when you were healthy, the way you developed your confidence and the way you played a two-way game. Just how do you look back on how it developed for you this season?
Yeah, I think it's been a good year for me. I mean, establishing myself a little bit more on the team, and I think I got much more to give too. I think I was a little bit up and down, but yeah, I'm happy overall and feel like I have much more to give.
Noah, what was the emotion of you were injured coming into the playoffs, you came in, you made a big impact right away, then, you got hurt again. Just what was the emotion of having to leave the playoffs, just you guys were winning, you were playing well, all that?
Yeah, it sucked. I mean, I was so happy to be back from the first injury, and then that one came. So yeah, it definitely sucked, and I was getting hopeful to come back in the next round. But yeah, that was the end of it. Yeah.
You were drafted the same year Yuri Kulik was. Was it tough to see what he had to go through this year? And also, as you look at you and him and Halenus and Benson, just the young guys that are starting to come into the team, are you excited that you're a part of that? And what do you see with the young guys that are coming up together right now?
Yeah, it's super fun. I mean, all of us just loves hockey, loves playing here, and having a lot of fun every day, and just trying to enjoy it as much as possible. So yeah, we try to have fun and make an impact that way.
Noah, what exactly was the injury you sustained against Boston, and what's your timeline for, like you said, returning to the ice and not having your training being interrupted in the off season?
Yeah, I'm hopefully gonna be back here maybe in a couple of weeks. I don't really know yet, so I'll see how the next couple of days goes, and just keep working hard. It's not much more to do. Yeah.
Luko, you've had a couple of days to think about Game 7 or think about the season, everything that's gone on for you this year. How are you looking at it now? Of course, it was a devastating way to lose, but every team but one loses at the end. So how are you looking at everything right now?
Yeah, I think the end was really disappointing. As I said after the game too, I think we could have come further. I think we have a great group of guys, so that's what sucks the most about it. But I think in a big picture, as a team and personally for me, it was a good year. Not necessarily the start I wanted for the year, but I was able to turn around and play some good hockey this year.
Luko, once you got healthy, once you got into the season, you were feeling 100%. What do you think were the big factors that your season and your play were improved from last year? How did you bounce back from last year to become the kind of goalie you were?
Of course, the team playing so well helped a lot. It's easy to feel confident playing in front of that team. So I think that's, one of the biggest factors is kind of getting confident with my game. While we're playing some good hockey as a team, it kind of, feeds off from each other. So I think that was the biggest thing was, just finding confidence in my game again, knowing that I can be a good goalie, knowing that I can win hockey games and help the team to win hockey games. So it was just, a lot of work on the details during summer and just, getting comfortable with the game and the way I play the game again.
And the situation having three goalies normally isn't great, but how much did, especially having Alex, of course, how much did that help you this year? Because no goalie is going to play a lot of games this season with the way this schedule was. And that they almost had to save you guys from yourselves and say, we're going to give you a night off here and there, whereas ordinary seasons, they might push goalies more. They couldn't this year. How much did that kind of help all you guys be fresh all the time?
Yeah, I mean, it helps you to feel fresh. You feel mentally and physically, you feel great pretty much every game when you get that kind of those nights off. So, hats off to Al and Ellie. Both of them were great this year. Played really good hockey too, and the unreal guys and unreal competitors too. So it was a rotation that works, but it wouldn't have worked if they didn't kind of bring what they did to the table. So it was just something that worked out really well for us this year.
This was your first taste of the playoffs, and I know you didn't like how it ended, but how do you use what happened over the last month the right way going into the off season to build on what you're able to do?
Now you know what it takes to play in the playoffs and to get to the playoffs. You know what the level and the standard of game has to be, and you also learn that in playoffs there's like every detail, everything matters that extra much. So there's some stuff that maybe you can get away with during the regular season, but when the playoffs start, everything, it's just every detail, every inch just matters that little bit extra. There's no room for mistakes. So I feel like just learning that and knowing that it's going to be a big feel this offseason.
Ukko-Pekka, next season's going to be an 84-game season. I know the three goalie rotation we've talked about it is not a common thing. If that's how would you feel about the setup if that's the same thing again next year, if they choose to go with three or if it goes back to a more traditional tandem?
I feel like in the end, it's kind of out of my hands. It's something I'm not really even thinking about. As I said, it worked out really well this year, and I've been in many different situations here with the goalies, with the goalie rotation. So one thing I learned is just you can't, you don't get to choose really. You have to be ready to play. It doesn't matter if there's 2 or 3 goalies and all that. So it's not, something I think about too much, but you just have to be ready for anything.
Alex Lyon was talking about it because it was almost funny how if one guy got injured, there wouldn't be another injury. It was like they waited till one came back, and then maybe there was another injury, but the other guy was back. So you always had 2, but it was good you had 3. Was that kind of weird, the way that all worked out?
Yeah, it was kind of, it worked out almost a little bit too good there. How it was funny with the injuries and how everything kind of lined up perfectly every time. But yeah, I mean, it was, as I said, it was really good rotation for us. It was really, as I said, you would feel mentally and physically ready before every game. And if there was an injury, you didn't feel the need to rush back because, the guys were, playing good hockey too. So I think that situation, sometimes it doesn't work with 3 goalies, but as I said, this year it was something that worked really well for us.
Did Ellis surprise you? I mean, it's his first year in the NHL, and there were a couple of times where he would go a month without playing, but then he got in, and he seemed okay, even though he hadn't played a month. Did he kind of surprise you, being his first year in the NHL, and to be able to do that?
Not really. I think he really showed this year how good of a goalie he is too, and I think there's a lot, for me to learn from that too. How, consistent he is with his game, how, how he treats kind of every day and every game the same, and really is just ready to play every time. So I think it was just kind of a long time coming for him too, and finding a good situation and good fit, and I think he kind of proved himself this year too.
Luka, over to your left. Alex Tuch, everyone knows he's one of your best players, but he's also seems like a heart and soul guy. Just what makes him so beloved in the dressing room? Why is he so popular with his teammates?
Yeah, I mean, overall, just Tuch is just a great guy. He just cares about everybody. So I think that's, he brings a lot on the ice. He's a big part of and big reason why we succeeded this year. But just overall, he's, what he brings into the locker room is a huge thing for us, and just, being positive every day and just, treating every guy well, it just kind of comes back to you. So, as I said, he was a big part of the team this year.
How did you handle the mental aspect of the playoffs, where you came in as the starter and then, Alex takes over in Game 3 there in Boston, and just like, but then you're back in there a few games later, against Montreal. Like, how did you manage to stay even keel when I would imagine it'd be easy to get down on yourself?
I mean, yeah, it was kind of the whole year. There was stretches where you didn't maybe play, but you just, you have to be ready. It doesn't really matter in the playoffs, especially. It doesn't matter if you're playing or if you're not playing. You have to bring your best every day. You have to find a way to help the team to win. So I think you're, mentally you're always ready. Mentally you always want to be prepared, especially during the playoffs. You can't kind of let your mind start to drift at all. It doesn't matter if you're not playing or if you're playing, because it can change really quickly. So I think it was just kind of something I learned and been learning. As I said, there's been many different situations here in Buffalo with the goalie situations. So it's kind of something I've been learning these past years, and it was, I think, helpful during the playoffs too.
Luko, now that you're a starting goalie in the NHL, did you find a need to maybe be more of a leader in the locker room too, as you're matured and older, and now that you're a starter?
Yeah, I mean, you try to kind of do your best every day to help the younger guys especially, and you know, I don't necessarily feel old, but I'm getting older too. You know, I kind of sometimes forget that myself too, that I've been in the league for a while now, and I feel like you kind of start to, you know, I think it helps me mentally too. I feel like I'm getting mentally more, I don't know, it's more consistent. I feel like mentally for me, how I feel during the games, and I think that just is a way I try to kind of bring to, is just, you know, stay even keel all the time, stay mentally, you know, just stable during the games, and just kind of almost, you know, try to lead by that example, try to be as calm as I can during the games, and just bring some steadiness to the team that way.
Like to have Consta living with you?
What?
What was it like to have Consta living with you?
He was great. I mean, he's an unreal guy. Great hockey player, but it's always fun to watch young guys to come to the league. You kind of see what you went through too, and kind of, you know how it is. You've been through that experience, and as I said, you try to help the best way you can. And I feel like he's such a confident guy. He knows that he's a great hockey player, and there's not necessarily always you know, help that he needs on that side of things. But as I said, you always try to just kind of guide him, you know, through maybe not to do the same mistakes, or, you know, those kind of hard parts of like being a young player in this league. So overall, it was just, you know, really nice to have another Finnish guy on the team, and it was just great to, you know, get to hang out with him and have him living at my place too a little bit.
Is your car all right?
No, the car's not all right, but it's my old car, so, you know, it's fine. He just, maybe some driving lessons this summer, and he'll be fine.
I don't need to ask a question. I was going to ask about the car.
Yeah, there's just a couple of scratches in the car, so nothing too major.
Why did you open up your house to him?
I mean, I was when I got to, you know, come to play in Buffalo, and I was living in a hotel at the start. I mean, Henry Jokiharju, he's my age, but I lived at his place for a little bit, and even though we're the same age, so it's a little bit different. I know how much of a difference it makes to be living with somebody when you're starting. Kind of, there's so much you kind of need to learn in the league, so it just kind of takes a little bit of that pressure out when you know, have a kind of place to stay at somebody else's house. So, you know, I know how hard it might be to be in a hotel too. I did that for a long time here at the start too. So, you know, as I said, you just try to help any way you can, and it's nice for me to, as I said, to have another Finn on the team.
Everyone talks about his confidence. What do you make of it, that he's so confident at such a young age? I mean, sometimes you hear that and it could rankle guys the wrong way, but it doesn't seem like it does that here.
No, I think it's really healthy confidence, and you can really tell that he has played, you know, professional hockey in Finland. You know, I think there's a lot of experience he has from back home playing with men's already, and I think also how well he played in AHL has helped him. You know, he has kind of proven himself in every level before he, you know, got his chance in NHL, and now he's proving himself here too. So I feel like that's why the confidence is such a good thing, because it's also he has proven that he can be confident, and why he is so confident. All right. Thank you, guys.
Owen, obviously you have some sort of a leg injury. What happened to you, and how difficult was it for you to play through it?
Yeah, obviously, I think everyone's kind of a little banged up at the end of the year, but no, I was very grateful where, the staff here and, my wife and all the people around me did a really good job of, helping me to be able to be good to go. So, yeah, no, I was, like I said, in a good spot, and a lot of good people around me that know what they're doing, and were able to help me to, play those last 2 games.
Oh, and when you look at your season, people said, you continued to develop as a defenseman in the NHL, but when you look at your playoffs, it's been noticed around the league and observers the way your game went to a different level. What was your experience like in the playoffs for the first time, and what do you think made you so effective as those games built up?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was obviously a lot of fun, playing in games that matter. But I don't know if I could put my finger on something that is the reason why, but I felt pretty good about my game all year, and like you said, pretty good about it in playoffs as well.
Oh, and your defensive game really took a big step this whole season. What went into that to help develop it to become where you're essentially like a shutdown defenseman at this point?
Yeah, I think taking probably a little different approach to it. I mean, I think a lot of it comes from, my feet, and when my feet are moving and I'm confident in my feet, I'm able to, close more plays, and it allows me, I guess, to be a little more physical. So, that was a big thing for me this year, is kind of trying to defend with my feet rather than, trying to go on there and, hope to not get beat, basically. So, but no, I think with my whole game, really, a lot of it stems from skating, and I was, I think, able to take a step in the right direction defending, with focusing on using my feet to defend rather than just stick or whatever.
Oh, and how much, if at all, do you expect the injury to impact your summer?
I don't think too much. I mean, you take time off at the end of the year anyway, so I think by the time I'd be ready to start skating again, it looks like the injury should be good to go, really.
When you as a top 4 have been considered some of the best in the league right now, what has helped the 4 of you get there? Is it system-wise, the way you play? What is it that's helped you guys maybe elevate your game to be able to accomplish that?
Yeah, I think something that helps all of us a lot is we got the green light to get up in the play and join the rush all the time, and spend time down low in the ozone. So I think all 4 of us, when we're able to do that, it benefits our game a lot, and I think benefits the team as well. So I think that's a big thing, and I think just also being able to play more together this year, we're able to get that much more comfortable with playing with each other, and that was a lot of fun.
Going along the lines of having the green light to go here, take us through the goal in Game 7. I mean, it's a massive moment for the team, and it's one of those kind of plays we've seen a lot, a defenseman down low, another defenseman going to the net, and most teams don't play that way. Just tell us about that goal.
Yeah, it was off face-off. Clotter has done it a bunch of times this year where he kind of wins it to himself, and then we'll hit the D. And I think if you look at it, Donor makes an unbelievable play to get a pick on the guy, and give me a lot of time with the puck, and I was able to get it over to Dolls, and Dolls made a really impressive shot to get it off that quick and put it in. So, yeah.
Oh, and how much have you enjoyed this group of guys and the team culture you guys have established over the last several months?
No, I mean, it's been awesome. I mean, it's definitely the most fun I've had with a group of guys in my career. So I think coming into the rink every day, I mean, even in years prior, we had great groups, but I think this year, like you said, the culture took that next step, and you come in every day excited to see the guys, and I don't think there was ever really a dull day with the guys in the group, and it was always a blast coming in and just bantering with each other. Thanks, guys.